Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Factorio here in our step-by-step to Megabase series. In the previous episode I realized we do not have enough power for what we currently have going on. In between the episodes I finished the solar array that we started placing and now I kind of have to wait for more solar panels to accumulate inside the crafting area. And so I decided to also hook up another nuclear reactor here at the bottom with a liquid station, which is currently also running. Yeah, there we go. It's all running. So I had to introduce a couple more trains. I also rectified somewhat the issue we had with the copper by actually making a different type of station. And I already mentioned that in the previous episode. But basically what I have going on now is a couple of stations for each ore patch with the miners directly feeding into the train. This is going to make each individual train load up much slower. However, with the amount of trains we can have here, this is not going to be an issue because we can introduce so many trains for just one ore patch that will just have so many more trains. One is always going to be ready to ship. Right now we can see some of the trains are incoming and they are just waiting here until they're filled up. And of course with 2 trains per station, we should be able to eventually fill up quite a few of these. Right now per individual train, of course this system here, the train is being filled up much quicker, but overall with the mining productivity, I think we're gonna be fast enough using the other method as of this point. So why don't we go ahead and set up another example. We're gonna split off right here. And then I'm going to be making my way over here. We can also hook up this oil deposit if we want. And then I think I'm going to split off right at this point in order to go up. So this line here is directly going to go into this iron ore deposit. And we can use the T intersection to gain access. Good. Now we have a dedicated track just going into the ore patch. And before we actually set this up, I want to make sure to take a new blueprint that I made. And we're going to set this up. Now the problem about my trains is they are not long enough to actually get all of the ore. But I figured we can just attempt to set this up somewhere where we get most of it. So if we just have one station after another like so until we cannot set them up anymore, then we'll be grabbing most of the patches and just a little bit is going to be left. And now all I need to do at this point is hook up with the first rail and then we can hook up all the other ones after that. There we go, just something along these lines, and this way we'll be able to fill up all of the stations as we please. And then here at the very end somewhere, we'll have to come back again. And of course, we'll have to hook up each of the stations again, but this is usually not a problem. Just like that, make sure we have a chain signal before each of the intersections and afterwards a rail signal. That should be good enough. And then we just make our way back into the original track. Maybe set up another signal there. And just like that, we now have a dedicated lane. We have 6 stations. That means we can introduce 12 more iron trains. And of course, that doesn't mean we have 12 more trains switching about. It's just that a lot of the trains are going to be waiting and being filled up in the stations so that we practically always have a train ready. Like all of these are now being filled up and they're already not having a destination right now. And so now I have another indicator to see when I'm lacking materials. Whenever we have no trains in all of these stations, that means I don't have enough trains or not enough ore. But as you can see now, all the stations are filled up, which is good. We could also go ahead and check how much science we are producing. At the moment, still 2,100. Let me see the current stats. Yeah, we're now approaching the 2,400 mark, which is what we should have with all the mega modules. Good, so all I have to do is make sure they are correctly labeled. This is going to be for the iron ore. We can copy this over. I'm going to stick 2 trains into each station. Most of the time, only one is going to really make it there. And that essentially means I need 12 more trains. So I'm going to be right back once I launch them into the system. Okay, said and done, the trains are on their merry way. I think I'm going to do the same thing with this copper deposit. Also, if you noticed, I now added some efficiency modules. This way we're going to save a little bit on power, but more importantly, towards the edges, we will be saving on pollution. Like right here, it's already getting close. And looking at the artillery stations, a lot of them are not actually full at this point. Like here, we seem to be missing some repair packs and everything. Let me see, where is the train? Is it on its way? Ooh, it might actually be stuck. Yeah, I think I made a mistake here. Okay, so that would be a good reason why this train is stuck. Now I have to make my way from this side of the map all the way over here. And this is just taking way too long. I wish there was yet another solution apart from the Spidertrons, or maybe just upgrades to make them even faster. But yeah, it looks like I messed up here. Let me actually see. Is this somewhere connected? Oh no, I connected it here, though I might be able to change that. No, it has to be taken apart physically. Yeah. That, of course, is a no-go. Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I did notice that the stations aren't being served anymore. Most of them are still full, thankfully. But yeah, just give me a couple of minutes and I'm gonna be right back. Okay, so far so good. We're filling up the artillery stations once again, so we can do the cleaning. I'm about to research artillery shell range 9, which is then definitely gonna close this gap. And by now, if we check the past minute, we should be at 2,600 already, but 2,400 is more gonna be what we are accepting as the minimum production rate. Right now, I'm also filling up some more lakes, make space for future projects. And if we check the stations now, we can see all of these are being filled up with trains that have a full destination to go to. And this way I can easily judge whether or not I need to hook up more resources. Whenever we have trains just waiting in these stations, then we are golden. Same thing with the iron ore at the moment. So this essentially means we could just go ahead and set up another smelting module. Now, one thing I would like to see happen is, can I check the production rate of all of this, for instance? What happens if I do that? Then the game is gonna crash or nothing is gonna happen. I don't know yet. No, I don't think that actually did anything. Maybe I can just check the smelting portion here. I wanna just know how much I'm smelting at the moment. I see. Maybe balancing the materials perfectly is going to be a little bit of an issue since I cannot really check the ratios. Maybe I should have waited for a bit longer. You know, the thing is, we don't need that much steel. We don't need that much iron. The copper is the only thing we technically need on each level. But then again, why don't we just overproduce? Or alternatively, maybe at some point every now and then we can have 2 copper smelters on either side instead of the steel smelter, or even a third one. But yeah, honestly, I'm not so sure about it. For 1 mega module, we technically need 3 of these stations, and then we have an additional 2. So that is not quite enough to serve both of the mega modules on either side. But then we have way more than enough iron, for instance, and also way more than enough steel. I think every now and then I will have to make a level with just 3 copper smelters and nothing else. Right now we have 4 levels going on. I think I will do another level like we have it right now with all the different smelters, and then at the bottom here, the 6th one is gonna be only copper, and then maybe the next one on top of here is only gonna be copper. And this way we kind of balance this imbalance. Also, another suggestion I actually liked was to set up some warehouses. So for instance, on the outside here, or maybe even here, we could set up a warehouse for the copper. This way we can ship the copper from all the veins and already fill up the warehouse. And whenever we need copper in the stations, then it's already nearby. You know, very often there is the problem that the trains take like 2 or 3 minutes, depending on where they come from and how much traffic there is. And this might already be too much time wasted. I will execute this warehouse idea in case I find the traffic is just not bearable or we don't get the ore to the location quick enough. Also, situations like these, it always seems like there are many trains waiting, but if you watch each individual train, they actually do not wait for a long time. It's just that always new trains are coming, and of course they also need to queue up at certain intersections. But there are always like 2 trains going for the intersections. Sometimes I even see up to 4 trains going through it at the same time. But honestly, a 4-lane, 4-way intersection here is absolutely a must. And also these 4 lanes right here help. And yeah, the best way we can see whether or not the trains take too long is if we can keep up with our production rate, and as long as we have 2,600 signs or even 2,400, then our train network is good enough. And we even had it for the past 10 minutes, we reached that 2,400 mark. Another thing we were struggling with in the previous episode was the power, and I rectified this issue. I think we are now producing up to 18 gigawatts. I have 133,000 solar panels, 120,000 accumulators, and together with the additional nuclear plants that I just set up, we should be golden. Good, so we don't need to tap into any more ore at the moment. That means we could take care of another project. For instance, we could could prepare the area right here in order to set up 3 copper smelters. Yeah, you know, I kind of like where this is going. The only thing I don't like is that I will always have to take apart certain things here. It's just not convenient, but I guess it's just in this cone. So maybe in the future we don't even start to hook up these resources because they might get in the way. On the other side, it would be a tremendous waste. Okay, I decided to just go for it. We're now gonna fill up these 2 lakes and then I should be able to set up another smelter somewhere here. So we'll have to sacrifice at least this crude oil, or we just hook it up differently, but I'd rather hook up another source, to be honest. Let me actually see. If I just copy over this portion here, for instance, then I should be able to align it. So this would go here, and yeah, we can already see this is simply in the way. I mean, we would have the space here in between, but then it would just look ugly, right, in the future. So I'd rather see these 2 stations taken apart, but first it's time to fill up the lake. So all of this needs to be done. And I think we do have, yeah, we have a stone deposit nearby that is currently crafting the landfill. So that is going to be our primary source to set this up. It doesn't look like we can do a lot. We would have to refill about 5 times just to fill up this one single lake. But you know what? We're dedicated. We can do this. So I'm probably going to spend a couple of minutes on that project and then we can already think about how to lay this out. But this isn't the worst idea to go for the copper smelters next. It's mostly just nature we have to take apart and then these 2 oil stations that we somehow have to replace with another source. Okay, I am back and I made a little bit of progress here. As you can see, I also went AFK and accidentally didn't pause the game for a minute. So we did research the extended range there and I have no idea what happened, but apparently we survived. So my next goal is going to be all about setting up the copper smelters here, and I believe the first one we can already set up. Let me actually try to get rid of everything here, though I think we can't do it if we don't see it in radar range. Either way, what I would like to do is remove all of this up to this point probably, and we're gonna replace it with the proper intersection here at the bottom. So basically all of this I would like to copy over, because that is gonna remain the same no matter which module we have on top. And this theoretically should allow me to place that baby right there. Actually, can I? No, there's a cliff in the way. Yeah, I have to reveal the terrain first so I can properly get rid of everything. And all of this rail section here will already be hooked up. Said and done, the entirety of the rail has been built, so my suggestion would be, let me see. Eventually we'll have to make an additional blueprint just temporarily. I just noticed we need to update the copper smelter either way because it doesn't include the new intersection. So I think for now what I'm gonna do is just copy over this part here, and this way we should be able to align it with what we already have going on. So something along these lines, but there is still a big electric pole in the way. Ah man, I want to clean this up. There we go. This is what I wanted to see. Now we can build this first station. Right now I'm not gonna hook it up to power. I'm just gonna wait until we have everything built. Good, it's time to go back for a quick refill at the crafting hub. Oh, beware, Spidertrons incoming. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm gonna make my way back here to the intersection and we're gonna replace this with the proper intersection that we want to see here. I think the easiest we can do is take one of these almost completed intersections and just copy over this portion, for instance. And then all I have to do is get rid of this and maybe this part. Yeah, let's just also get rid of that and that. And now I should be able to paste this in without issues. Well, with trees in the way, but that's fine. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, I can see how I would stop playing at this frame rate. Thankfully, this is a huge exception when I'm building stuff like this. And just like this, the copper trains are now incoming. The only problem is I haven't hooked up the power yet. Good, then time to build the rest of the module. There's just a little bit left. Yeah, a couple of inserters mostly. Now let me see. Am I missing a power grid? Where is this placed? Here. Yeah, I'm guessing I can place the power grid and that should solve my issues. There we go. Now we started smelting. That means we need another 10 copper plate trains. So just give me a minute or so to accomplish that. And just like that, we have another 10 trains, at least I believe so. Let me quickly check. We have 25 stations and 50 trains. Perfect. Very nice. And now I would say we can do the very same thing if we just copy over this portion and then we can set it up on the other side as well. So let me just paste that in. No, I can't. There are some power poles in the way. So I first want to remove everything within this vicinity, I guess. Okay. And now I should theoretically be able to place it. No, still big. Come on. I guess we'll find out where that power pole exactly is. For now, I'm just gonna place the blueprint, get this baby started. Right here, I can see the culprit. So this big electric pole was in the way, no problem. We can just copy over the smelter. And now, of course, if we now check, all the stations are already being served, so it is in our best interest to finish this as quickly as possible. Good. Now moving back to the crafting hub, get a refill as well as emptying the trash slots. And while this is happening, I'm gonna introduce another 10 copper trains. So I'll be right back. Alrighty, I've been observing this for a little while and I noticed the one thing we seem to be lacking at the moment is the petroleum. So the first thing I have to do is to make sure that the petroleum stations are even running. Right there. So the first thing I want to check is, yeah, right there. We have an output full situation. So this is not good. This should never happen. The output should never be full because we are processing everything into petroleum. So I quickly want to check which outputs are actually full, and it seems as though it's mostly concerning the light oil. We are processing the light oil in this row. Oh, no, actually sometimes it's also the heavy oil, and this output here is full as well. So, what's happening here? Let me get rid of nature. No, this seems to be fine. This is then going here and it's being... look at that! Water. I did not notice that. So if I just track this back to here, yeah, okay, what happens if we add water now with this train? Then we should be doing better in this regard. Okay, so we just don't have enough water from the looks of it. Let me see, there's another train on its way. In total, we have 40 water trains, and I actually noticed this problem earlier, which is why I now have 3 water stations right here. And look at that, destination all full. So do we have a wrong setting here maybe? So if I check this station, then we bring water as soon as we are below 50k. But honestly, maybe we should upgrade this to 100k if we have some vacant trains. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm just gonna upgrade that to 100k. So trains are coming in sooner. And I'm going to do the same thing here with the other water stations, though if we have 100k, I might have to add another tank. No, in total we can store 200k and there's only a train limit of 1 in these stations. So overall, this really should improve the situation if we upgrade these stations. Okay, like this, I think we're good, but overall, if I check, it's still the petroleum that's waiting, and white is actually a really bad color because that means they are not even on their way. Yeah, we have literally no train going here. I mean, thinking about it, we right now have 6 mega modules. So theoretically, I would also need 6 of these stations, don't I? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I might even need more. Oh, this would be horrible. Oh, will you look at that? We have a full output. Maybe I'm just producing too much petroleum for one station. That could be the issue. We are shipping 816 units just out of these. And I can see the yellow dot here, which means the output is full. But if I check our petroleum tanks, ooh, well, okay, they are actually pretty full. Yeah, you know, another problem might be that the tanks are loading unevenly. Yeah, looking at this, the petroleum pipe here is completely full, and then it should be moving out. Okay, we have another petroleum train going. Okay, maybe I'm just seeing things wrong. At this point, I don't even have a train actually coming here. It will take a while. No. There are now 2 on their way. Another one just arrived and is filling up rather quickly. And I mean, there's no sense in them actually getting here earlier because they need to wait either way until they're full. So yeah, I think our biggest problem right now is that we cannot really utilize all of these machines. Their output is all full because of the petroleum, and we are actually lacking petroleum in the station. So this doesn't make any sense, and we need to add another line for the petroleum to escape. Considering everything, the easiest might be to just go down here, then maybe hook up another pipe at this spot and connect the 2 pipes together. Something along these lines. Now, this pipe here is going directly into the station, but now actually all of my light oil machines can get to work. So maybe instead of going to the tanks directly, we could also lead it into this system here. And if we do it, for instance, at this spot, then I just need to make sure to provide power, and we could go down like so. This way we have the same effect of extracting the petroleum also at the bottom, but it is first going into the system that actually steers everything. All I want to see is a green dot on each of these machines, which we do currently have. Good. Next up, instead of just outputting it here in this system, I'm gonna make an additional one here at the bottom. Now, I really want to see something. So nature, go, go, go. We bring this all the way down to here and directly input it into the lowest tank. There we go. Now we're actually filling up from either side, so it should do this a little bit more evenly. Okay, now we just have to apply this fix to each of our systems. So just going out here, going into this slot, and from this slot into the tank. Okay, give me a minute to accomplish that, and then we'll check out the situation again. Oh, finally, we're slowly getting back to the mark where we are supposed to be at the 2.4k signs per minute mark, and I actually noticed a much graver mistake than first anticipated. One of my issues was that I actually still had power poles right here connecting all of the modules, and of course this way my power switches here wouldn't do the job and actually regulate how much of every liquid is being produced. And I actually noticed this mistake in several spots where we had them hooked up. Right now I fixed everything, so the system should be working again, and therefore if we check on the map, yeah, all of the petroleum stations are now being served. And I have to emphasize again, I know this might look bad to some of you, but I've been observing it for hours now. Each individual train does not take long to get there. You have to be aware that I'm zoomed out extremely much while observing the map this way. But if we just go ahead and observe this for a minute, we'll be able to see that so many trains can go through here that each individual train doesn't spend that much time in this area. And of course, we can always verify that if we just check the signs production. If we are producing as much signs as we're supposed to, then of course the trains aren't an issue. And I believe some trains, they can get very unlucky. So this guy right here, I believe, has been waiting for a while, but an opportunity is going to present eventually. And now you can see this area has completely cleaned up. Then there's going to be another burst of trains just queuing up here. As long as we're producing the signs we are supposed to, I'm not too worried. Wonderful. I would say we can now keep on expanding as much as possible. I decided against a smelter module right here. Probably we're gonna go with another steel module, since we do need like 2 lanes of steel per mega module. And if we have 1 mega module on either side of this, then we need a steel station on each level, except, well, maybe the center there. However, 1 additional copper station does compensate for all the stations that we are missing. And if we do this here at the bottom as well, we should have a fairly balanced output. Great. With that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a great time and see you in the next one. Bye bye.